WRHD-FM, Farmville, Washington, Greenville. Thanks for hanging out. It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Okay, welcome in. Great to have you with us here on this hump day. All downhill from here in a big way, isn't it? As we welcome you in on the Patrick Johnson Show on this midweek edition, 7th day of June, 2023. And it's the day that state lawmakers have given their final approval to legalizing sports gambling on mobile devices. Yeah. Also legalized at select in-person sports venues across North Carolina. It's paving the way for betting to begin next year. The governor, Roy Cooper, must still sign the bill into law, but he has expressed support for sports wagering throughout the lengthy legislative process. So we'll get into that in some more detail here in a little bit. In fact, we've got some audio of the Gov speaking about this today. He does interviews with friendly outlets, so not this one, I guess.
So I was about to say, not you then, right?
Right. Well, no, I'd be happy to talk to him about this.
No, you would grill him. You know you would.
Well, I've interviewed him before. I've interviewed other governors, obviously. I've interviewed presidential well, not candidates, but presidential people that ended up being cabinet members. Anybody of any power, Tom Tillis. I mean, I'm fair, but one. I mean, I ask him very direct questions because I'm only concerned, Cookie, about the folks. I'm not concerned about the politicians. I am. When it comes to that stuff, I'm concerned about the peeps.
I believe you. No, yeah, I believe you.
Make no mistake, I'm only concerned about myself. But when it comes to that role of having to interview, people that are lawmakers or in power, I'm interested in the folks.
That's when you're looking out for the folks, yeah.
I'm looking out for the folks, exactly, Cookie. Folks like you is who I'm looking out for. But now when I interview Coach Godwin today, I want to get some answers on, what where things are going in the offseason, his thoughts on the season. Cliff Godwin coming up in just a little bit, so we're excited about that. Chris Cook is in the hizzle today. Woo! Producing the program, and Philip the Ref Pilkington.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I don't know how we got that cut to be linked to the ref. I don't know if it's totally fair to the ref.
I'm just messing with him.
I understand, but I just don't know if it's fair to the ref. That's all I'm saying.
It's not. He's a great guy. The ref's a great guy.
And then we've got, you guys are about to really be intimate with each other, as you'll be spending a couple of weeks as bunkmates.
Oh, yeah,
on the road.
With the man.
At the beach on doing a production. Do we have Cookie, is Clark there today too, by the way? We have Clark in the hizzle as well. Okay, so we got a full house.
You serious?
Full house today. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's get to this gambling talk here. So the House giving its second concurrence to changes made by the Senate to their House Bill 347, which allows betting from mobile devices on pro, college, electronic, and Olympic sports, as well as horse racing. I don't know how I feel about that. The bill allows in-person sports betting at 8 facilities across the state, and it allows 12 mobile operators to secure 5-year renewable licenses at a cost of $1 million. The operators will pay 18% tax on gross gaming revenue. This is also the same bill that will get East Carolina Athletics $300,000 annually. So that is a win for the Pirates. They did have floor debate today, and so the people who were against this came out and really, really spoke out about it. Again, that's $300,000 to the athletic department for ECU is among those institutions that will receive that. And again, it could start next year. All right. So Governor Cooper, our guy Roy Cooper, was on the OG podcast. Joe Ovius and my guy Joe Giglio now have a podcast, and they interviewed the governor of this state on that today. Let's do cut 2 here, guys. And now this was a longer answer because this was recorded or the podcast aired or however podcast was posted when this was originally yet to be voted on. It has since been voted on, so then the governor gets into here, what his role in all of this will be. Cut 2.
The sports wagering bill is about to come to me. I think they're taking the last vote today or tomorrow. And so I know what's in there, and we've been studying and we've been going back and forth. And so that would allow at the PNC Center a place to wager. It would allow mobile sports betting.
And he was asked when gambling or if gambling would be a thing. They asked, did the guys on this podcast, the host of the podcast, asked under the backdrop or against the backdrop of next NHL season, because the governor, huge sports fan, as you know, huge sports fan that he is, goes to the PNC Arena but calls it the PNC Center. Huge sports fan, though. The governor says that.
I love sports.
Yes, he says that. So he's
looking
asked,
at a huge sports fan right here.
You're looking at a big sports fan right here.
He's asked if this will be a thing next NHL season. Earliest it could start is January. Latest it could start would be a year from now. I guess when he signs it into law, so mid-June. Whenever he does sign that. So sometime within the next year, this thing will get fired up. Is there any sort of idea or timetable on that? A lengthy cut here, but a lot of good deets in it. Here's Governor Roy Cooper on the OG podcast.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be a push to get it effective by January, and I think there's a lot to be done. They put a lot of responsibility on the North Carolina Lottery Commission to do something that it hasn't done before, and now we've thrown in horse racing here toward the end. So there's a lot to put together, to implement, and to regulate. But I think this is something that has been going on. The North Carolina taxpayers should get the benefit of this, and this new law allows this to happen within the bounds of the law. I'm glad that they upped the percentage that the state gets and took away all of the promotional credits that they would get. So I think it's pretty good legislation now, and once we're ready to get implemented, we should get it going in this state, and it'll create a lot of jobs, and it'll help our economy, no question.
Okay, the guys asked a question to Governor Cooper about college athletes seeing money from the revenue generated from betting. Let's play that for you.
Well, I think you have to look at it holistically. Football is the big money maker, we know, and it's the point of contention now with the conference realignment, and money is causing a lot of schools to self-examine and to try to figure out where they fall into this. I think it was really important for college athletes to be able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. I think that is only right, particularly the amounts of money that are involved in college sports, and the fact that they can cut their own deals and to benefit from that, I think is a great thing.
All right, so the long and short of it is, if you read between all the lines there, that the governor is going to sign this bill. He is not, for whatever reason, coming straight out and saying it, although he has alluded in the past that he would. And so sports gambling sometime in the next year will be up and running in North Carolina. You can go to the PNC Arena or any of these other designated. I think Charlotte Motor Speedway, Bank of America Stadium, the golf Sedgefield, I believe, was one of the places in there. There's going to be 8 of them where they will have a sports book, in a sense, in the venue, in the athletic venue. And even if you wanted to go on a random Wednesday a year and 4 days from now, just to be on the safe side, or a year and 20 days from now, and you could go place a bet on a baseball game. That could be done. So that is what I think a key thing in there. And again, I think this is a precursor for there being possible casinos. I'm in a way glad the casino conversation didn't muddle this down this year. But with the establishment of sports books, I think the next logical turn, or the next logical step in this, is the turn towards the entertainment districts designated where they are, and that's where you'll find casinos, and there'll be people starting to really push for that. A little bit of a separate issue, but I think the key component here is the sports books being allowed, and that will maybe make that a little more tolerable, but a future legislative session. Although there is some discussion, I guess it could still possibly get done before the end of this session, but it doesn't appear as likely at this point. I'm just glad it didn't bog down the legalization of mobile sports betting in the state. All right, we've got our concert on the Common tomorrow. Mark Miller will be doing a check-in for you. Also on the show tomorrow, Rini Ngolia, college football analyst for ESPN. Get a early primer on the college football season, and Rini on the ballot to be considered as one of those that'll go into the College Football Hall of Fame. So our pal, the Rochester Rocket, Rini Ngolia, on the program Thursday.
He's an energetic
concert.
guy.
I love Rini. Concert on the Common tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Town Common in Uptown Greenville. Landslide is the ultimate Fleetwood Mac tribute band. They will be there tomorrow. It is a free show to the Eastern North Carolina community. Food trucks, adult beverages, vendors, and more. Pets are welcome. No coolers and no glass containers. So bring your lawn chair. Come and enjoy a great evening on what is going to be a pretty good weather day, it looks like, as you watch Landslide, the ultimate Fleetwood Mac tribute band. I know Cookie's very excited about it. All right.
I'm super excited.
I'm excited about Cliff Godwin. He joins us next. So the coach of the Pirates wrapping up the 2023 season, and we'll talk with Cliff Godwin straight ahead on the Patrick Johnson Show.
We're back in minutes with more of the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
You should go have that tested.
Make sure to listen or watch now on the new IBX Media app. Get it now in the App Store or Google Play.
Concert on the Common.
Inner Banks Media's got the biggest and best free live shows in ENC.
And it gets even better Thursday, June 8th, when Landslide hits the Town Common in Greenville.
Landslide, a tribute to Fleetwood Mac on the Greenville Toyota Amphitheater stage. Live music, food, adult beverages, giveaways, and fun for the whole family.
Still to come.
The Legacy Motown Review, The Embers featuring Craig Woolard, and the Leonard Skinner Tribute Band. Tuesday is gone.
Find out more at concertonthecommon.org.
Special thanks to the City of Greenville and the Junior League of Greenville.
Concert on the Common is sponsored by ECU Health, Michelob Ultra, Pitt Greenville Airport, Greenville Toyota, The Air Doctor, Greenville Utilities, The Ritchie Law Firm, Sawyer's Fun Park, Polly Pylan State Farm Insurance, Eastern Plumbing, Town Bank, Specialty FDR, Optimum, Wells Roofing and Gutters,
and Inner Banks Media.
Listen, joint pain is a thief. No two ways about it.
That's football legend Emmitt Smith, who knows a thing or two about pain.
It steals your joy, your time with family, or doing things you love. It can even steal your livelihood. But QC Kinetics can help put a stop to that.
Don't hand everything over to pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, a cutting-edge technology that helps relieve pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back using healing properties directly from your own body.
It's easy. Get treated in the office and walk right out afterward.
Simple, right? And QC Kinetics' remarkable all-natural treatments deliver long-lasting relief without surgery or long recovery times.
Don't let soreness or achiness rob you of doing the things you love. Tell that pain, not today. not ever. You've got QC Kinetics on your side.
Call QC Kinetics 252-765-PAIN. That's 252-765-7246. 252-765-PAIN.
Hello, Eastern North Carolina. I'm Matt Murchison here at Greenville Nissan. I'm along with Scotty Turner.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm well, buddy. How are you?
Hey, this is awesome day, isn't it?
It is. And we got a great selection of inventory with some great specials going on.
We really do. We have something that we don't normally have over the last 3 or 4 months,
That's
Matt.
right.
We have Nissan Sentras in stock, which is plenty to choose from. Folks, they're not going to last very long, and I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. One, supply and demand. There aren't many of them out there. We're blessed to have some. Two, you're going to get more money for your trade right now than you ever have, even through the last 3 years of COVID. It's because of supply and demand. Matt, I know there's a lot of things you can tell us right now about lease payments.
Oh, yeah. We got a great lease special right now going on with the Sentra. We got a $0 down, $269 lease special right now going on the Sentra. We got a great lease special on the Rogue right now. No money down, $375 right there. The Pathfinder, no money down, $395. The Maxima, no money down, $375. It's a great time to come take advantage of these lease specials. Check out our website, GreenvilleNissan.com. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Leases are 10,000 mile, 18 months, must pay tax, tag, title, and dock fee. See dealer for details.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready?
Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
Cliff Godwin, ECU baseball coach, joining us here. We always enjoy anytime we talk to Coach. Don't like talking to him necessarily at the end of the season, if the season ends like it did, but he's always insightful and always has great things to say. So, Coach, we appreciate it. Enjoyed the ride this year, and I know you're in the midst of interviews, I guess, with the players and kind of the meetings with them to wrap up the year right now, right?
Yeah, Patrick, thanks for having me. And, yep, we're just doing some individual player meetings as, you know, some guys are heading off to summer baseball. Some guys are, heading home for a couple weeks before the incomers come in for next year's class, and they'll be back here working out with those guys. Had the team over to my house yesterday for one last hoorah. Had a cookout and let them get in the pool. So just trying to spend as much time with the players and the team these next few days to get everything wrapped up.
Gotcha. Are those meetings today, tomorrow, do they kind of continue, or is everything kind of wrapped up with those player meetings?
No, we have a few player meetings tomorrow. So we've done the majority of them, but we still have a few in the morning, and then we'll be done with them. But, we had a great year. Obviously, nobody has higher expectations than myself and what we're trying to do here. But what we're trying to do here is really hard. It's never been done before. There's more parity in college baseball than there's ever been. It's obviously harder to win on the road. I mean, you look at the regionals this past year, and you got national seeds losing at home, Vandy and Clemson and other number one seeds, Oklahoma State, and, the Auburn, the list goes on. So it's really hard to win, and we won 47 games, and I'm extremely proud of this group, even though it's not the end goal where we want to be, but it's just another step, in my opinion, of continue to build on the foundation that we built here, and the guys do it the right way. We got a 3.52 GPA in the classroom in the spring, won another regular season conference championship 4 in a row. And I know there's probably some naysayers out there like Coach Godwin's crazy, they're never getting to Omaha, and I would tell you that they're crazy because we're going to get there. I just don't know the exact time that we're going to get there. And as I said in my post game, we're beating the out of that door, and it's going to come down. And I'm not going to quit, and none of our players are going to quit. None of our coaches are going to quit, and we're going to freaking keep doing it.
Coach Cliff Godwin with us here as we talk ECU baseball. So you also said basically you felt like you should have hosted. And I don't ask you a lot of these things during the season because, I don't know if it's the time to ask you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But, I mean, what goes into that, Coach? Because, 45 wins through Clearwater's a heck of a lot of wins.
Yeah, look, it's the committee, and, they look at different metrics. And the thing is that the people on the committee, change from year to year. I don't know if it's a 3-year clock that they have. So some people roll off, some people roll on. it just seems like one year they look at RPI and then the next year they don't. I just would like to have a little more consistency so you know where you stand, kind of, so to speak. I just go back to the 19 team because, in my opinion, 2019 we had the best resume before Selection Monday that we've ever had here. And I walked away that day going, if we're not a national seed on this, we were the 5th RPI in the country, then we'll never be a national seed at East Carolina. Like, that was my opinion, because now it was probably, I was pissed off, but at the same time, I'm like, how could we do anything more? Like, our strength of schedule, and I have to go back and look, was like 3rd at the time, 5th RPI, and I forget how many wins, but we won 20 games in the American that year, which was a stronger league than it was this year. We were 20-4. We didn't win the conference tournament, but we had a really good resume, and we weren't a top 8 national seed. Last year, we go on this unbelievable run, and we were the 8th national seed, which kind of surprised me, to be honest with you, because I didn't think that they would give it to us. Did I think we did enough? Yeah, but this year it just seemed different. It seemed like the RPI was harder to figure out to me. Just with the different teams. I thought Campbell should have hosted in front of us, because they beat us 3 times.
Right.
And that's hard for me to say out loud, but I'm just being honest. Like, I thought they should have hosted instead of us. So, they definitely should have hosted, in my opinion, over some of the other teams that got host bids. But I'm not on the committee, so here we are. And, I definitely think we had a tough draw, which is part of life, going to UVA, being they were the 7th national seed. They're as good offensively as any team in the country, because they're really dynamic. They can hit it out of the park, steal bases. They're extremely good defensively, and they're good on the mound. And I thought our guys, if you're playing those games in Greenville, which we wouldn't have been playing UVA because they were a national seed, you probably beat UVA at least one of the games, and then you got the home field advantage. So, but it didn't work out that way, and we just got to do a little bit more where they have to allow us to host.
Yeah, I got you. With the Cliff Godwin is with us here, and love talking to Coach G, especially when we got Coach in the mode he's in now, because I can tell Coach G, even to me, he wants to talk today, and that's good, because it's just good, insightful stuff. With your schedule, I think you do this scheduling, you and Coach Palumbo, I think you guys schedule as well as anybody in the country to have that really high RPI. And the league had its issues this year. We'll see if that improves. Is the schedule kind of set for next year? I know that in college baseball it's now a couple, 2-3 years out now.
Yeah, the schedule's set for next year, maybe a game here or there, but, the weekends are set and all that good stuff. I'm not going to tell you exactly where our schedule is because I don't know it off the top of my head. But, I thought we did everything we could do scheduling-wise. Really, it was just our conference RPIs were so bad and that's where I say there's something off with the RPI. I don't care what South Florida's RPI is. If we go on the road and sweep South Florida on the road, how does your RPI drop 5 points?
Right.
Because you get more RPI points for being on the road and winning, and that doesn't make sense to me. If you said stay the same, okay, because they had a bad RPI, but how do you drop? You won baseball games.
Is it a formulaic thing, or is it the
formula thing? It's a formula thing, but I don't have the formula in front of me, and I've never even dove into it. But we're going to try to figure it out, and hopefully, there's been some coaches that have been critical of the RPI formula. I know Kansas State's coach came out and felt like, they should have been in the tournament other than Oklahoma. And, but I haven't dove into the RPI formula as much as probably some of the other coaches have.
Coach, when you look at the conference, what does the conference have to do to get back to the level where it was a few years ago?
Well, I think the teams that we're bringing in are going to, I think they're going to help. I think when we first got in the league, Houston obviously was very good, so that helped the RPI. We were good. And then you would have a team, pick a team in any different year, Tulane, South Florida, somebody would be good. So the league RPI was always somewhere between, at the highest, 3rd to at the lowest 6th or 7th. This year, I don't even know, but it was not good. I mean, it was past 10. So I think some of the teams coming in will help that for sure. I think I saw a graphic maybe during the conference tournament that if the teams that were coming in next year would have been in the league, then the league RPI would have been better this year. So we'll see how it goes. But you know how it is. I mean, especially with the transfer portal and everything else, you just don't know what a team's going to look like, even when you think you know going into the next year.
Coach Cliff Godwin's with us. One of the things that really stands out to me this year about this team is the successes you all had, but the successes you had despite a lot of adversity.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we don't talk about it a whole lot going through it because I don't want the kids to use it as a crutch. But, I mean, you go into the season thinking that Justin Wilcoxon and Ryan McChrystal, one's going to catch, one's going to DH, and they're going to rotate. And McChrystal has a back issue, to be honest with you, that he could have just not played this year. But Ryan, being the type of kid he is, he was like, no, I want to figure this out. Got a second opinion. They said, I don't think you can make it worse. And he goes, no, I'm going to figure out how I can get back on the field. And, of course, he does that. Then he breaks his finger. So he had a lot of adversity handed to him, but nobody talks about it because it's just next man up mentality. And, of course, Luke Nowak played well early, and then you got Starling missed time because of a back. J-Dub missed, the entire Houston weekend, which we got beat 2 out of 3 with a back injury. Saylor missed 5 weeks. Savage missed time. I'm probably missing somebody, but it's a credit to our coaches and our players that we just don't talk about it, where other coaches across the country and different sports go, yeah, we lost a Friday night starter for 2 weeks. That's why we didn't host a regional.
Right.
No, we just needed to do a little bit more.
And then Jacob Jenkins-Coward obviously missed a ton of time.
Yeah, that's right. Missed some time with his growing injury. And, that was it's a surgery, and he missed 2 weeks and probably, came back earlier than even I anticipated. And it took him, a few weeks to kind of get back on his feet and feel good. And he lost a lot of weight and wasn't as strong as he was before the surgery. So, yeah, a lot of things happened.
What is his kind of prognosis now? Because, again, I don't even think he was 100% coming back. I mean, he was good enough to go, but, obviously that's a big, as you said, that's surgery. That's a big injury. So,
yeah, he's 100% now. He's 100% healthy.
Okay.
We had a meeting with him this morning, so he's going to go home for a few days and regroup, and then he's headed up to the Cape Cod to play the summer.
Okay. Well, let's who's going where? Can you tell us that as far as?
No, I don't have all of it in front of me.
Gotcha.
I just know some of the guys that we met with. I mean, Savage is going to the USA stuff, the collegiate national team, in a couple weeks. So there's 2 out of the team, but some guys are staying back here. Some guys are playing summer ball, depending on their workload and what they need to work on.
With the new guys coming, or the new class coming in, when will they arrive?
Summer school starts June 22nd, so they'll get here the day before and move in, and we'll meet with them, and they'll start classes and get the physicals and start working out in the weight room and all that good stuff.
Before I ask you a little bit about what, with an eye towards that group coming in and towards next year's roster and all that, and I don't want to harp on that, but I think it's a lot of fans. You know how fans are. You know how us fans are.
Well, fans need to take a breather and just enjoy that we won 47 games.
I agree.
And have some confidence that we are very consistent in what we do. And I know people don't have anything better to do to talk about next year's team and who's coming back. And Starling's off a roster in the summer league team, so does that mean he's signing? And they panic. And there's a lot of moving parts, but we got really good kids in our program. They'll make really good decisions. They'll be educated on decisions that they make, and we'll have a good team next year. And it doesn't, the names might change, but East Carolina Pirates will be good next year.
I want to get into the culture thing. That's where I was going there. That kind of just what you spoke to there. That's the big part of all this, isn't it? Is that there's a foundation and a culture there.
Yeah, it's a huge part, but it's also a credit to our coaches and our players that the guys behind the scenes that you don't see for a couple years develop. They take pride in wearing the purple and gold. A lot of people ask me, like, what year is Justin Wilcoxon? Is he a sophomore? No, he's a fourth-year junior. He's just worked his tail off to become a really good catcher and a really good hitter. It just took him a little bit more time. everybody was panicked about shortstop. And to Joey Barini's credit, he had to earn it, man, and probably didn't really earn it until about a quarter way of the season. And then he played a really good shortstop and was a really good hitter for us this year. And the guy had really just pinch hit for us for 2 years. But the guy worked his tail off, and he got better. So to my point is, it's just that the guys work hard behind the scenes. We'll have pieces to go to the spots that we lose, and we'll be ready to go when next spring rolls around.
Yeah. As far as the portal, how do you see that factoring in any of this?
Yeah, I mean, just like the tweet I said, it's not the end-all, be-all. We'll add some pieces that we need, but, the majority of our team is going to be our recruits, guys we develop that we bring in, and we'll utilize the portal when we see that we need to fix an issue and make sure that it's not just talent, but it's a person that can also fit into the culture of what we have here and not disrupt that. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you can't come in here and think it's all about you if you're a portal guy, because it won't work out well.
Cliff Godwin, ECU coach, on the horn with us here. We're going to break, come back and have more with Coach Godwin, including an update on when exactly we can look at construction on some of the amenities that want to be added on and need to be added on at Clark LeClaire Stadium. We'll talk about the seniors also when we get back. It is the Patrick Johnson Show, and right now with your Pirate Report and Sports Update, here's Chris Cook.
Starting off in some breaking news, legendary professional wrestler known as the Iron Sheik passed away earlier today. He was most famously known for being the opponent Hulk Hogan defeated for his first world championship in 1984. Legal sports gambling is one step closer. The State House approved changes to the bill that were made by the Senate last week. HB 347 had one final House procedural vote today, and the bill was passed before it moves to Governor Roy Cooper's desk for his signature. Tonight's Yankees-White Sox game scheduled for Wednesday, June 7th is rescheduled because of poor air quality due to smoke from the Canadian wildfires, and will be made up tomorrow, Thursday, June 8th, as the first game of a single-admission doubleheader, which will begin at 4:05 p.m. The PGA Tour has agreed to merge with Saudi-backed rival Live Golf in a deal that would see the competitors move forward as a larger golf enterprise. The two entities signed an agreement that would combine the PGA and Live commercial business into a new company. The agreement includes DP World Tour, also known as the PGA European Tour. Earlier today, it was announced that Josh Allen will be the cover of this year's Madden NFL video game. He is the first ever Buffalo Bills player to be featured on the cover in the game's 20-plus year history. The Charlotte 49ers are on the search for a new head men's basketball coach. Ron Sanchez has resigned from his post after 5 seasons leading the program. Sanchez is set to rejoin Virginia's staff as associate head coach under Tony Bennett. The coach led the 49ers to a 22-14 record last season and a college basketball invitational championship. Charlotte is poised to join the American next month. The Blue Devils and the Demon Deacons are gearing up for an NCAA Baseball Championship Super Regional. Top-seeded Wake Forest is slated to host 16-seed Alabama for a best-of-3 set beginning on Saturday afternoon. The Deacons cruised through the Winston-Salem Regional with 3 straight wins where they outscored their opponents a combined 48-7. Duke begins a 3-game series against 7-seeded Virginia on Friday afternoon in Charlottesville. The Blue Devils advanced to the Super Regionals with an upset of 10-seed Coastal Carolina in the Conway Regional. The Carolina Panthers are continuing their final week of organized team activities. Carolina will take the field today and wrap up OTAs tomorrow. The Panthers are gearing up towards their mandatory minicamp that begins on next Tuesday. In other news, quarterback Andy Dalton is embracing his role as Bryce Young's mentor. Dalton said that he thinks his, quote, whole goal is to kind of be an example, end quote, and another quote, show how it's supposed to be done, end quote. The 35-year-old QB signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with the team in March. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Update. This Sports Update is brought to you by Team Boneyard, an NIL initiative directly supporting Pirate student-athletes. For info on how to donate, please visit teamboneyard.org. More of the Patrick Johnson Show with the head baseball coach Cliff Godwin on the other side of this quick timeout right here on 94.3 The Game.
94.3 The Game.
Texas also want you to know doesn't hurt. It's awesome. Steaks, ribs, chicken. Right now, East Carolina. Visit the home of Coyote at East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. They dig. To value your trade used inventory that includes all makes and at the point of Greenville Boulevard. Locally owned and operated by Infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina. To speak to a patient service representative to
Rough Greens is a dog supplement. Rough Greens is what our furry family change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Their low energy, achy joints. All you got to do is cover the shipping. Within a few business days. Go to
We're back to the Patrick Johnson
Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app. Coach Cliff Godwin is our special guest today as we recap the Pirate baseball season. I want to talk about the three seniors and Lane Hoover. And, boy, what a special guy he is. And you look at where he is. I mean, number 4 is up and down those all-time numbers, but it goes beyond the numbers with Hoover.
Yeah, just a guy that would walk into a room with our players in the dugout or practice and make everybody around it better. Like, you'll never look at a stat sheet and look at Lane Hoover and say, man, that was, first team All-American stuff. But the stuff that he brought to the team was first team All-American. His defense, his energy, him making people around him better. I think it was 243 games played, which was the most in ECU history. I mean, he couldn't go to a better person. And I'm just so proud of him. He is what Pirates, the acronym, means to me. I mean, he exhibits that every single day. And definitely going to miss him and the other two guys as well.
With Carter Spivey, I mean, you talked about it a lot last year and in the early part of this year. He talked about it before the season, and that was, this was a situation that didn't look like it was going to work out. And he committed himself. He was given opportunities, and he stepped up. And you look at where the numbers he put together, and again, these impacts go beyond numbers, but I mean, just he was a guy in the mix every time, and there's a reason he was a guy in the mix every time.
Yeah, I mean, once he bet on himself 2 years ago and what he meant to our team last year, and then even this past season going, he was in the rotation, going to be the Friday night starter, open day, you have a rain out, and he's got forearm soreness, to closing out a game the next weekend at Carolina, to going back into the rotation, to really pulling himself out of the rotation and saying, hey, coach, I need to get back to that mentality that I had last year when I was coming out of the bullpen, to having the ability to still start. Just a extremely selfless human being in a world that says that you should be selfish. And he just was like, no, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help this team win. And that's what I will remember about all three of these guys, Hoover, Saylor, and Spivey, but all in different ways. And they've all gone through adversity and handled it the right way. And that's what I will remember about this class.
Yeah. And it was Saylor, Coach. Had he been 100% healthy all year, because by the time he worked his way back, he started to get really, really sharp near the end of the year for you guys.
Yeah, he did. I mean, once we kind of, kept him in that starter's role, whether it be in the middle of the week or the conference tournament, man, I thought he really took off and flourished. And, I mean, what he did for us in that conference tournament game against South Florida with such a depleted bullpen, we wouldn't have won the second game if he didn't have that kind of performance. And just an unbelievable performance and a really big spot in our season. And then his start against UVA, keeping them in check, which – man, that's a really hard offense to keep in check. And he did an unbelievable job of that, to, wanting to be available the next day. Like, hey, coach, I only threw 55 pitches and I'm good to go. And he's a tremendous human being, like all of them are, and they will be missed by me a whole lot. I can tell you that.
Coach, the last couple of years, long runs into the postseason, and then your involvement with USA Baseball and getting your knee straightened out and all that. So, I mean, it's been a pretty solid pace for you. What will you be doing this summer now that you don't have a USA Baseball commitment, now that you're not hopefully having to have any more surgery, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I hope I don't have to go through the fall I had last fall. That was not easy physically or mentally. I mean, having 2 surgeries and having an infection is not how you draw it up by any means. But, no, I will be recruiting. I will be managing stuff on the home front when I'm not recruiting, and getting our new guys settled and implemented to our culture and making sure they're doing the right things. So, there'll be a vacation time somewhere in there, but for the most part, you're continue to build on what you have built here and making sure that everybody is communicating at a high level, because the new guys seem to have to figure that out very early on while they're here. So, a lot of work to be done, but it'll be fun, and we're excited to get it going.
As far as camps, any availability in any of the Cliff Godwin or ECU baseball camps that folks need to know about?
Yeah, we got 3 Little League sessions going on, and I think one's at the back end of June, one early July, and then one later in July, but it's cliffgodwinbaseballcamp.com. The first 2 sessions are filling up fast, and if you want them, then you better go ahead and sign up quickly, just because the numbers are actually they're great, but we also have to have the area to be able to handle that many little leaguers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so we want everybody to have a great experience. So if you want those first 2 sessions, better sign up today, because they're filling up fast.
And there's the continued push to get the money in to have the upgrades to the stadium, a new locker room, and the pavilion area. Where is that right now?
From what I can gather, we need to get you with Ryan Robinson to get the specifics, but
right.
We're a little bit over half towards that $7 million goal of the university, because of the situation we're in financially as a athletic department. It's going to have us raise at least 90% of it before they'll let us start breaking ground. So, yep, the time's now. Any dollar helps. It will go directly towards the benefit of our student athletes and making their experience better, and helping our guys, feel like this is the best place in the country to play, which I obviously feel that way, but you got to keep up with the times and making sure they have the amenities that they need with a new locker room, new training room, that kind of stuff underneath to help with that.
Hey, Coach, thanks for the time. Good to talk to you, and we'll hopefully get in touch with you here as we get ready to go into the fall semester and talk a little bit about what the roster is going to shape up and look like at that point. But I'm like you. Let's enjoy this great season and a building block season, and appreciate your time.
Well, thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it. Just tell the fans to take a deep breath. The Pirates will be back. Let's get ready for the next season and football season for the Pirates.
Yeah. All right, Cliff. Thank you very much. Great to talk to you. We appreciate the time today and all season.
Thanks, Pastor. Appreciate it.
Great to have Cliff Godwin on the phone with us this afternoon here on the Patrick Johnson Show. I thought very interesting to have Coach Godwin, and I mean, he's right. This RPI thing probably needs to be figured out. And you know, during one of the ESPN Plus telecasts, we didn't have it for baseball, but we had it for softball. So I don't know if they're similar in how they factor RPI, but there's kind of three weighted areas, if I recall correctly. It was one of those things we talked about in a pre-show rundown, but I'm not sure we put it on the screen or not. But, you know, what's interesting to me about that is, as I understand it, you're kind of, it's not just who you beat, it's who your opponents beat. And, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing. And look, I think the Pirates have been in a league that had such poor performance in the RPI this year and was a bit of a down league, and still have an RPI in around that 20 some odd area was a big deal. And I think something that credit to the job that the Pirate coaching staff does with, I won't say manipulating, but sort of playing to the RPI. You know, I think a 2 seed was right again. I think that really was. I think maybe a little bit of a higher 2 seed, so maybe lower on the overall national seed. But look, at some point you got to beat people, and Cliff Godwin would be the first to tell you that. But it was great to have him on, and we'll of course we'll post this. You can check it out on Facebook and Twitter on video form, the IBX Media app, which is downloadable for Google Play and Android, and other outlets as well. 94.3 The Game, Spotify, Apple, the whole nine, the podcast of the show. You can go back and hear that if you missed any of it, or you can go back and relive the magic of the deal there. All right, Rini Ngoli will be with us tomorrow, and we'll get you set up for tomorrow's show and have a few final thoughts and numbers for you as we wrap things up on the Patrick Johnson Show.
All things ECU at 943thegame.com.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
More of the P-Man coming up in minutes.
Atavola in Greenville is your local marketplace. Atavola offers diverse menu selections, casual lunches, and family meals ready to go. At Atavola, they specialize in the creative use of fresh ingredients, seasonal menu selections, and fun culinary creations that will satisfy even the pickiest taste buds. Treat yourself to lunch or dinner at Atavola, and make sure to join them in the bar on Saturdays from 4 to 11 with friends to enjoy the limited menu that includes many of your favorites. Atavola, Red Banks Road, Greenville.
For over 100 years, the families at Bertie County Peanuts have been growing and selling peanuts. Much has changed since 1919, but quality is still number one. So if you are looking for great North Carolina snacks and gifts, look no further than Bertie County Peanuts. Small batch, hand-cooked, and 100% guaranteed. You can't go wrong with their gourmet peanuts. Shop online at BertieCountyPeanuts.net, and the shipping is now free. Or visit them at Powell and Stokes in Windsor. Bertie County Peanuts, a North Carolina tradition.
I'm with my health insurance agent, Bill Jenkins. Bill is an employee benefits specialist and life insurance agent from Town Insurance. Bill, give us an update on Town Insurance here in North Carolina.
Town Insurance is a top insurance and employee benefits agency in North Carolina and ranks in the top 50s nationwide. We have primary offices in Greenville, Kinston, Wilmington, Raleigh, and now Charlotte.
And Bill, what are areas Town Insurance specializes in?
With our experienced account management team, we specialize in employee benefits, including group medical, dental, life, vision, disability, and voluntary options for employees. We compare these options with several of the best carriers in the market and assist businesses on benefit administration as well as employee education and enrollments.
And how can a business best contact you to review their employee benefits program?
Give us a call, 252-756-8300.
Call today, as the best time is now to come to town.
Hallo, this is meine Auto. Und this is meine key. And there is only one place I trust with meine key. Meine key car care. They even offer financing options, so I can fix now and pay over time. Ooh, I love financing. And options. And meine key. And American cheese! Remember, I only trust Meineke with Meineke, your one-stop shop for total car care.
At participating locations, subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payment required. See store for details. Meineke locations are independently owned and operated.
Need $1,000 to $10,000 immediately for a gift for someone special, car repairs, or unexpected expenses? Time Financing Service offers competitive loan rates. Apply online and get your answer in less than an hour in most cases. Then you can pick up the cash at any of our 24 convenient locations. Apply online 24/7 at timefinancing.com. That's timefinancing.com.
All loans subject to current credit policy of Time Financing Service. 1 hour loan approval and same-day cash in most circumstances. Exceptions may apply.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Had an interesting conversation this morning on Talk of the Town, and it was about basically just the reaction to the Live PGA deal. Rory McIlroy spoke today. I also talked to Brian Mull, joined us yesterday, and I thought did a really outstanding job. We mentioned this in the first segment. I didn't really get into this. The money is the big part of this, of course, but also Brian and I both acknowledge that we should have mentioned, I did say it this morning, not only is it money, but the second part is avoids litigation. The PGA Tour did not want any of its financials made public, as they would be in discovery. They would be public record in discovery of any lawsuit, the antitrust lawsuit with Liv. Conversely, the Saudis didn't want anybody nosing around their financials either, and some of the deals that they have in place with various golf courses, with the CW network. They didn't want any of that to be subject to public record either. So it is interesting that that is a really, really big part of this. The other thing that I think you still have to consider in this deal with the PGA and the Live Tour is, will the Department of Justice bless this in a sense, or will they step in and say that this violates monopoly sort of things, and then the Saudi government and the regime? I go back to this, and I understand the disappointment in Jay Monahan, and he seems hypocritical with everything that he said. Rory McIlroy, by the way, said he's resigned to the fact. It seemed like he took a bite of the apple today, but it also appeared that Rory McIlroy was still kind of angry. He did say he had confidence in Jay Monahan, which I thought was really interesting. But the thing to me that I think you have to also, and I've been real consistent with this, and I said this way back when this thing was really hot last summer, and that is, of all the business that this country does with the Saudis, why are we putting ourselves down or requiring golfers to be the ones that need to make the moral stand here, when our government, when other businesses from our country are heavily involved and linked to the Saudis? Now, there are, I think, 16 judges in Saudi Arabia now that are currently on trial because they gave sentences that the Saudi regime considered lenient. The people were convicted of tweeting disparaging things about the Saudi royal family, and they were given a sentence that was approximately half of what the Saudi regime felt like they should have been sentenced to. So now the judges who delivered that sentence, 16 of them in these various cases, are now being subject to trial. Again, that's some of the human rights things that people question. But we're really enthusiastic to go to China and have our entertainers and athletes go to China and perform. We held an Olympic Games in China, and I'm not trying to be what about here, but I think, there's obviously some terrible human rights violations in China. There's also a country that is currently actively trying to usurp the U.S. as a global superpower. Is this sports washing? They've already got a piece of, I think, a team in MLS and a Formula One racing team. Now they've got the professional golf globally. Their hands in that. I'm speaking of the Saudi regime here. And I don't think they're stopping here. I think you're going, look, you think Major League Baseball would take Saudi money right now with the way that the deal with Bally's has folded and these regional sports networks are going by the wayside? I mean, fans in San Diego can't watch the Padres. Padres finally have a decent product to show, and fans there can't watch their games because the regional sports net has gone by the boards. So baseball would gladly take the Saudi money for sure. More on that. Plenty of time to discuss it. Rini Ngolia tomorrow, talking some college football with Rini, state of the game, and a little bit of a primer on ECU, Michigan, and just his thoughts going into the offseason here, the summer, as we head to next college football season. So ESPN football analyst Rini Ngolia will be on the program tomorrow. Big thanks today to Cliff Godwin. Enjoyed having him on. If you missed it, check out the podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, or download the IBX Media app. You can get the podcast of every Patrick Johnson show on there. Thanks to Chris Cook. Thanks to Philip the Ref Pilkington and to Clark Willis. And we will be back tomorrow with more on the Patrick Johnson Show at 5.
Hear 94.3 The Game anytime on the IBX Media app. Download it for free in the App Store or Google Play and get to your favorite radio station in 2 clicks. All your sports, music, talk, and podcasts. Listen live anytime, anywhere to ENC Radio's best on